We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose, and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree: kill them. So until we admit that when we wrote this Constitution that all men are created equal, that we never intended to include our black brothers and sisters, our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go. We are the ones that are refusing to acknowledge that we do not value our black brothers and sisters as equal individuals or equal Americans as us white men. And to my black brothers and sisters, the racial issues, as I've said, have been there from the very foundation. But why do we see it more? Because there's a shifting. See, us white men have been at the head since the foundation. But we've had a black president. And you know, we've done everything in our power to keep him from really changing things. Now we have another minority rising to the top, a white female. What does that say? Those of us who are white men who have been at the head are now starting to see and fear that we are going to become the tail. And we know what we've done to you. And so now we're fearful that you're going to do to us what we have done to you. But I will say this. I've lived in a black community for 23 years. I've never been treated the way that this country has treated my black Americans. So I call out my white Americans to say we better heed, repent, acknowledge, and change. Because if we don't, I just want to again say this: the bloodshed that we
There is something so insidious happening right now to the black community, and most white people literally have no idea it's even happening. The black community is under attack right now at a level we haven't seen probably since the Civil Rights era. You know, with the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act earlier today, you've got the purge of black federal workers, attacks on nonprofit funding with the whole DEI boogeyman. You've got attacks on the social safety net. Overt racism is on the rise across the board. And they're tired, y'all. They are exhausted by this onslaught. And it's self-proclaimed white Christians leading the charge against them on all of these fronts. So if you are a white Christian and you are not deceived by Trump, we need to rally together around our black brothers and sisters right now. We need to form a wall around them, and we need to say no more. No more, because this isn't right, and we cannot stand by and do nothing as they are getting absolutely pummeled like Reconstruction just ended or something.
So white people will never leave black people alone, and I'm going to tell you why. White society's obsession with black people isn't new. It's centuries old. If you think about slavery, colonialism, and exploitation, from the start, white wealth in America was built off the backs of black bodies. Sugar, cotton, tobacco, rice. This wasn't just economics. It was a system where white people's very identity was shaped around controlling and owning and watching black bodies. But here's the wild contradiction in all of this, right? While trying to dehumanize us, white culture has always been obsessed with us, right? They copied our music, our style, our language, our food, even our rhythm, all while denying us basic rights. Think about jazz and rock and hip hop and fashion, all born out of black genius, only to be taken, watered down, and sold back to the world with a white face on it. So why can't they just stay away? Because in a system that is built both on exploitation and envy, distance is impossible. White supremacy depends on keeping black people in place, close enough to use, control, or imitate, but never free enough to threaten the hierarchy. It's a sick paradox, fear and fascination at the same damn time. On a psychological level, it's projection. White folks will project their guilt, their fear, and their insecurities onto blackness, and then turn around and crave the very life, culture, and resilience they tried to destroy. It's like they want the sauce, but not the struggle. Now, to be real, not every white person acts like this, but the system, the way whiteness has defined itself against blackness, makes it so this obsession keeps resurfacing. Whether it's over policing or culture appropriation or trying to legislate our lives, it always comes back to the old need to dominate mixed with a quiet desire to be what they can't.
Why does America fear black people? And I just need to know why Americans have so much hatred for black Americans. Is it because whenever you see black Americans, you're reminded of the pains in your country? Is it because people need a scapegoat for their own shortcomings? Or maybe it's because those white folks are afraid that black people are going to do to them what they've been doing to them, or what they've done to them. You know, this is a very serious conversation. This is a very serious argument that has been going wide on the internet, social media, everywhere. To me, it just keeps bothering me, and I want to make this video today. You're welcome to my channel. If today is the first day of coming across my videos, I want you to kindly like, share, and subscribe. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single stitch and clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. Let's just go through the few videos and clips I have for us to watch, and then we'll be back with commentaries.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
And this is why they hate blacks in America so much, the white power structure. We're the only non-white people in the country who cannot be sent home. Right. You cannot be deported. Slavery destroyed your cultural, psychological, and intellectual connection to your ancestral homeland. If the Ghanaian get on your nerve, he go back to Ghana. If the Puerto Rican gets on your nerves, he go back to Puerto Rico. If the Afro-Cuban gets on your nerves, he or she go back to Cuba. If the Chinese get on your nerves, send them back to China. If the East Indian gets on your nerves, send them back to India. If the Arab gets on your nerve, send them back to one of the Middle Eastern states. But when American Africans get on your nerves, where do you deport us to? Most American Africans are so brainwashed, they think they're American. So you cannot deport them because this is what they identify with most. So in other words, the white man created his own problem, which makes it almost impossible to deport us. So the only way to get rid of us is a systemic system of racial genocide, and that's what they're using.
No, white Americans are scared of black people because they think that we will do to them what they've done to us. We can see from the few clips and stitches I put out there for us to watch, I believe that has tell us a lot about why these white folks are afraid of black Americans. Yes. You know, black Americans, ever since the start, from the beginning, where they've been through slavery, brought out from Africa to America, they try to use the means of slavery to bring their pressure down, to bring their status down, but black Americans fought to the top and they tried their best to break out of slavery. So the white people saw that the system of slavery is no more working anymore, and then they create different methods of detaining black Americans just for them not to rise, like taking them to prison, keeping them in cells, a lot of that. But still yet, black Americans continue to rise. That's because black are strong. And black Americans are the best when it comes to culture, music, hip-hop, jazz. You know, black Americans bring this creativity that even the white folks can't put on. But today, what usually happens is that the white folks copy the black American style and they try to put it out and label it as their own, which is not. You know, history will tell you today that everything created in this world, or everything found in this world, is founded by a white man, by a white person. That's a very big lie. Yes, I will start to say it is a very big lie. Most of these inventions and discoveries are made and found by black people. But the white people always look for a way to put it in their own image and nature. That is the life of the white people. That's what they've been doing to blacks. They've been trying to hide black people's image, black Americans' image, so that they won't rise and be like them, because they're afraid that when they become in power like them, they will do to them what they have been doing to us. You know, I've thought about this a lot of time. Why is it that those people that are called the minority, which is the black Americans, why is it that the majority are now scared of the minority? Why? That's because they've been seeing the advancement of black people nowadays. They know that black people are extraordinary. The things that we put out to do, they can't even do it. That's the truth. That's why they are so jealous about black people and always find a way and a means to detain us down. to contain us, to reserve black people. But you know what? No matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, black people still rise to the top. So thank you for watching my video. I want you to suggest your comments in my comment section, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Watch out for my next video.